New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
And now the good news. I'm Barbara Jean, your host, and here we are on July the 3rd. Summer set in. It's beautiful outside. Oh, don't you just love it? So on that note, a little bit of good news to go with our good weather. So it was a 1969 Mustang Mach-1. Daniel Allen would tell his boys the best car he'd ever owned, and he traded it away to make room for his growing family. Every time Mr. Allen told the story, one of the 6 sons was listening intently. Shane Allen recently traded his own restored Mustang for one just like that, which his father had sacrificed and surprised the old motorhead on Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. After returning from several tours of war in Vietnam, Daniel Allen bought a white Mustang Mach-1 with a black hood and red stripes. It was a 4-speed manual transmission, and it colored his youth with joy. He took his future wife Diana out on their first date in the pony and even drove it right on board the ferry where he proposed to her. Yet, as their first child soon made way for second, third, and so on, Daniel traded the Mach-1 away for something more practical. Shane Allen, the youngest of Daniel's son, happened to grow up with a fondness for classic cars as well, and the two bonded over their shared interest. It became routine for the pair to attend Father's Day car shows together, where they'd look at Mustangs and reminisce about the one that got away. I knew the car he had dreamed about was that 1969 Mach-1, Shane told People magazine. My dad and I have talked about this car since I was a kid. And as it would happen, earlier this year, Shane spotted a white Mach-1 from 1969, just like his father had always described it. He jumped at the opportunity to fulfill his dad's dream of climbing back behind that same wheel. Now that his sons were all grown up, he could do that. Trading his own restored Mustang GT away, there was a lot to do if Shane, as he envisioned it, wanted to surprise his dad with his mother of all Father's Day presents, not presidents. The upholstery needed changing and the paint needed a refinish. It wasn't too much though, and soon on their customary father-son visit to the Father's Day car show, Daniel saw a white Mach-1 sitting in the lot. It had a name tag dangling from the rear view mirror, marked Daniel, which the man thought was just a coincidence. Joking, he said, "Where are my keys?" A moment later, recorded in a priceless family video, Shane handed him the keys and told him to fire it up. Happy Father's Day, Daniel. Way to go, Shane. That's a good son. All righty. Well, moving right along with more good news, motorcyclist reunites with strangers who lifted a car off of him. In Queensland, a father of 2 is alive to see his daughters again, thanks to a horde of Good Samaritans who rushed to his side after he was pinned under a car during a collision. Lifting with all their might, the bystanders managed to hoist the wheel and get the man out from underneath its crushing weight with only seconds to spare, as the victim was blacking out from the pressure on his chest. Tyler Weeb was driving to work in Brisbane when a driver suddenly came into the opposing lane and smashed into the car in front of Weeb's motorcycle. As it surged backward, he felt it drag him under before eventually stopping right on top of his sternum. He couldn't breathe, and the compression was so intense that his heart wasn't able to beat. Hearing the telltale bang of a car crash, Rob and Brian, two employees at a nearby business, ran out to see what had happened and saw a pair of legs sticking out from under a car. The two got their colleagues together and ran out to try and lift the 3,300-pound vehicle. We tried to lift it off. We couldn't. And then second attempt, we had a couple of other good Samaritans come and help us, Brian told on an Australian current affairs show. The second attempt only succeeded in breaking more of Webb's rib bones, but the rescuers didn't give up. We just knew we had to get the car off. We just sort of grabbed the spot and just lifted with all our might. Miraculously, the strangers got the car up enough to move Weeb clear of the wheels, at which point survival was up to him. Speaking to the same current affairs show, Weeb described how even though he was free, he was pretty sure he was going to die. He couldn't breathe. He knew his lung had been punctured. The paramedics had come to rescue him, and their ambulance would call out, stay with me, but Weeb found it quite difficult. Yet the man was made of sterner stuff, and the hospital he received surgery to stabilize his lungs before making a slow yet steady recovery. When he was on the mend, he spoke with ABC News Australia about the ordeal and thanked the good Samaritans for saving him. I get more time with my daughters, I get more time with my family, and a second lease on life, he said. I can't say thank you enough. I'll tell you, that is one feat. Way to go, guys. Good job. Good job. Well, this is interesting. This is a high-tech jacket developed by engineers at the University of Texas, and it can pull drinking water from thin air. That's quite the advance. With the advance in fabric technology, the jacket can collect up to 1.5 pints of drinkable water a day, say scientists. They suggest the groundbreaking technology could benefit anyone who spends a lot of time in areas without easy access to drinking water: hikers, campers, runners, agricultural workers, and soldiers. Water harvesting from air is usually imagined as a stationary device, such as a box, a panel. We want to rethink the form, said research lead professor Gihua Yu, by focusing on the fibers rather than building another bulky device. The researchers overcame a common problem in the field. He explained that the textile incorporated into the jacket collects moisture and funnels it to detachable harvesting units, which are then placed in a foldable collector and heated to produce the water. The jacket produced between 400 and 900 milliliters of drinkable water per day, depending on humidity levels, according to the study. Compared with materials, the textile showed a 3 to 10-fold improvement at scale. Man, scientists. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay, well, $1 billion program connects 50 million people on the grid to the power grid across Africa. And in Africa, power is something that's in short supply some days. 50 million Africans living in 40 countries now have access to electricity for the first time, thanks to a $15 billion development initiative by the World Bank and African Development Bank Group. Called Mission 300, it aims to have the number of people living without reliable electricity by 2030. Half the number of people, yes. By pioneering and working to finance and implement national energy compacts, fixed agendas for public ministries, commercial operators, and investors to coalesce around. African development has been a mixed story since the end of colonialism, which with shining examples of Botswana and post-war Rwanda clashing with others like Zimbabwe or Sierra Leone. It's a testament to these earlier failures that 600 million people could still be living without electricity on the continent. There's nothing mysterious about why economies grow and why they don't. In the same way that there's nothing mysterious about how to finish an ultra marathon. That doesn't make it any easier. Mission 300's National Energy Compacts may finally be the ticket, at least regarding electrification. Indeed, households are receiving their first stable power supplies twice as frequently now as when Mission 300 began in 2024, and more than 30 countries have now created or are already working under the National Energy Compact. In Tanzania, for example, 7.9 million people have gained access to power under Mission 300, a five-fold increase in the average annual pace of electrification prior to the initiative. In Ethiopia, 4.6 million people have been connected, supported by reforms that make grid connections more affordable. Well, this is really good news for Africa. We have a center in Kenya, and I know that sometimes the students there because they sometimes. All right. So a woman wins the lottery and immediately gives her neighbor $5,000 to take a holiday with his family. How nice is that? 48-year-old woman who won $1 million in the lottery immediately gave her neighbors a gift of $5,000 so they can travel on their first family vacation abroad. Honorata Jamrozic scooped up the life-changing tax-free prize in the UK OMAS monthly million draw, and her first act was selfless generosity. The kind-hearted foster care mother surprised her neighbors of 14 years with the cash to spend on a family getaway. It's a life-changing prize for us, but also for our friends and family, said the woman from Dartford, Kent, who says she can go back to fostering kids thanks to the influx of money. Now we can help make life easier for our loved ones, and that is the best feeling in the world. Good neighbors are one of life's true blessings. They have been wonderful since the day we moved in, and they feel like family to us. Being able to give them money for a holiday so they can make some magical memories together makes me so happy, she said. Polish-born Honorata, who's lived in the UK for 25 years, had been grieving the loss of her father just 2 weeks earlier, and she learned about her new fortune after returning from his funeral in Poland. And she's convinced he's the one who sent it to her. He'll always be the angel sitting on my shoulder, and I know it was him who sent me this gift. How sweet is that? That is beautiful. Well, here's a fascinating one. Before with more. And now the good news here on the New Thought Media Network. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you.
Well, here's a happy accident in the garden. 2 garden ornaments thought to be worthless concrete turned out to be Italian marble. Yeah, there's a surprise. 2 worthless garden statues thought to be made of cheap concrete were discovered to be rare 18th century Italian marble masterpieces, earning the homeowner a nice payday after their sale. An estate sale expert spotted the tatty chip busts in the undergrowth around a house that was being cleared out in Kent, England. The owner used them as garden decorations, thinking they were low-value concrete figurines. But closer inspection revealed the statues were carved in the early 1700s by craftsmen in Florence, Italy. Placed up for auction this week, the two Florentine busts, one depicting Apollo and the other Diana, sparked a bidding war between collectors and architectural salvage companies. They fetched around $3,000 each, with the hammer falling to a round of applause. They were discovered by Hanson's auctioneers, Justin Matthews, during a routine house evaluation in the village of Boughton Monchalisa. The owner thought they were mass produced and made of concrete and was surprised when I told him I thought otherwise. Dating from 1720 to 1730, the bus probably came to Britain during the Grand Tour era when wealthy travelers scoured Europe for classical treasures. How would you like to find that in your garden? Wouldn't that be a nice surprise? I love it. I love it. All right. Well, this is a really great thing. A hospital opens up a roof garden where critical care patients can enjoy the outdoors for hours and still receive full care. A hospital in South London opened a garden on its rooftop where critical care patients can spend hours in the fresh air and sunlight. ICU patients visiting the rooftop garden receive full life support while experiencing the therapeutic benefits of the natural surroundings. Located on top of the hospital's 60-bed critical care unit, King's College Hospital says their roof garden has space for up to 6 beds. The best part is that each patient can be safely cared for without being disconnected from essential life support systems. 6 specially designed weatherproof cabinets keep the patients close to power, data, and medical gas supplies, just like they would receive on the unit. The hospital's team will also be able to research how exposure to fresh air, greenery, and sunlight can reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and improve the well-being of patients and the families and staff who care for them. Dr. Tom Best, clinical director of King's Critical Care, said many of their patients spend weeks or even months receiving intensive care, and research shows that time spent in nature can improve recovery outcomes. It's important to treat the whole person, and this outdoor critical care unit helps meet our goal of caring for the mind as well as the body. Iona Joy, director of grants at the King's College Hospital Charity, said the garden, the first of its kind in the UK, is about dignity, humanity, and innovation. We are transforming intensive care into compassionate care, where science, technology, and empathy work together to save and rebuild lives. When you're stuck inside all day, there's no motivation to try and get back to normal life, said Holly, who's waiting for a vital heart operation and spends hours at a time on the outdoor ward. Even if it was thunderstorms, I'd be out there. It's lovely. The garden designers, landscape architect Nigel Dunnett, a professor at the University of Sheffield, and Sarah Price, a 3-time winner of the Chelsea Flower Show, formed a planning strategy. Aromatic spaces, including rosemary, sage, and oregano, were incorporated alongside native species and tactile plants such as lamb's ear to actively encourage engagement rather than passive observation. Well, that is some forward thinking. I like that a lot. And it's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, this is a great story because not everybody's going to run into a burning building, that's for sure. So a stranger punches through glass doors and runs into a burning home to save 2 young girls. Leon Segura wasn't a neighbor. He wasn't even from the area. He was simply driving home when he saw the flames and heard screaming. Without a second thought, Segura pulled over, ran toward the burning house, and tried to kick in the front door. But the intense heat made it impossible to get inside. I kept on hearing screaming and crying, he recalled. Determined to help, Cigar raced to the back of the house where he found a large glass door. He punched through it with his bare hand, suffering cuts to his arm and hand in the process. I told myself, Lord, help me, and I knew I had to get these girls out. Wrapping a bandana around his face to shield him from the thick smoke, Segura entered the Hope and quickly found two young girls nearby. One by one, he carried them to safety. As soon as I grabbed the last child and put her over my shoulders, that's whenever the back of the house started booming and banging. Moments later, firefighters arrived and took over the rescue effort. The two girls Segura rescued were airlifted to burn units in critical condition. Officials say there is no doubt they survived because of his quick actions. We were here within 4 minutes, but that 4 minutes is crucial, said the Fort Worth Fire Department. You've got a house full of kids. That 4 minutes is everything. I can't say enough about the actions of Mr. Segura. Those two kids that he pulled out, they're here because of him. That's a beautiful thing. That is a great story. All right. Well, a police officer rents out an entire movie theater so more than 100 kids can experience their first trip to the movies. Yeah. One police officer turned what could have been a disappointing end to summer into a day more than 100 middle school students will never forget. When funding for a planned field trip unexpectedly disappeared, school resource officer Sean Reevy stepped in without hesitation. He personally paid to rent out an entire movie theater so 144 7th and 8th graders in Greenway Middle Schools after the bell summer program could enjoy a private showing of Toy Story 5, complete with popcorn, candy, and drinks. For many of the students, it was much more than a trip to the movies. It was their very first time inside a movie theater. Program coordinator Katie Jenkins found herself scrambling after the funding for the annual end of summer celebration fell through. With few options left, she reached out to Reevy for help. She told him how much she needed, and I gave it to them so they could go, Reevy said. The theater rental cost less than $2,000, but for the students, the experience was priceless. If they needed more, I would have given them more, Reevy said. You can't break a promise to a child. They come here knowing that there's a reward at the end of the year. Greenway Middle School is a Title I school in Phoenix, where many families face financial hardships. And Reevy has spent 2 decades in law enforcement and says working closely with students has given him a firsthand look at challenges many people never see. Some of them live in a different life than most of us would comprehend, and yet they just haven't seen a lot of good things with their own eyes. Their family doesn't have a car. Parents, if they have to, work multiple jobs. Half of them have never been to a water park before. They've never been across the other side of the highway before. Helping these kids experience something new has become a personal mission. Last year, Reevy spent more than $3,000 out of his own pocket to take students to Hurricane Harbor. His commitment to children extends even further through Put on the Cape, a foundation for hope, a charity he founded after serving as a child crimes detective. It dawned on me that little kids who were scared responded to superheroes. So I started a superhero-based foundation called Put on the Cape, a foundation for hope. Before the lights dimmed and the movie began, Reevy had one final message for the students. As you get older in life, help other people as a payback to me. Would you do that? That's all I ask for. Instead of asking for anything in return, the officer simply hoped that one act of kindness would inspire hundreds more in the years ahead. Bravo, Officer Reevy. That's beautiful. Just beautiful. All righty. Well, yeah, this one could have been so much worse. It's already bad enough. Firefighters refuse to give up searching after a little girl's accident. Their efforts helped save her hand. A team of firefighters went beyond the call of duty to help save a little girl's hand after a devastating playground accident, and 8 weeks later, she returned to thank the heroes who never stopped fighting for her. When 5-year-old Olive Cook Taylor was seriously injured while playing on a roundabout at a park in Hockley, England, firefighters sprang into action, but their job didn't end when the ambulance left. As Olive was being rushed to Southend Hospital for emergency treatment, firefighters remained at the playground and launched a careful search of the area, knowing every second mattered. They worked tirelessly to locate the parts of Olivia's injured hand that surgeons would need. Once they found them, the crew placed them on ice and raced them to the hospital under emergency lights, giving doctors the best possible chance to help the young girl. Their determination made a difference. Olive was later transformed to Broomfield Hospital in Chelmsford, where surgeons successfully, oh my goodness, such hard words, successfully reattached her fingertips. Now, just 8 weeks later, Olive is recovering well and recently paid a special visit to Raleigh Weir Fire Station to meet the firefighters, whose quick thinking and persistence helped change the outcome of one of the most frightening days of her life. The young girl toured the station, met the members of Red Watch who responded that day, and presented the crew with paintings she created as a thank you for their extraordinary efforts. Everything happened so quickly, and while Olive was being taken to hospital, the firefighters were still doing everything they could do to help, said her mother. We're incredibly grateful for what they did that day. Their determination and care meant so much to us as a family. It's amazing to see how well Olive is recovering. She's been so brave. How beautiful is that? Well, one final story. A 7-year-old boy hailed as a hero after saving his 1-year-old brother from drowning. Who knew? When every second counted, 7-year-old Patrick didn't panic. He acted. The Texas boy is being praised for his incredible bravery after rescuing his 1-year-old brother, Liam, from a backyard swimming pool, a series of actions that authorities say helped save the toddler's life. The frightening incident happened on June 21st in Burleson, Texas, when Liam was discovered unresponsive in the family swimming pool. Deputies with the Johnson County Sheriff's Office respond alongside emergency crews, who quickly began life-saving treatment before transporting the little boy to Cook Children's Medical Center. Thankfully, Liam is expected to make a full recovery. As deputies pierced together what happened, they learned that Patrick had been the first to find his young brother in the water. Despite being just 7, Patrick pulled Liam from the pool, rushed to alert his mother, and then sprinted to a neighbor's house to get even more help. The Johnson County Sheriff's Office said Patrick's calm thinking and quick responses were remarkable. In moments of crisis, even adults, many adults, can freeze under pressure. Patrick did the opposite. Officials credited his courage and determination with playing a critical role in the chain of events that ultimately saved Liam's life. Now, are those two cute or what? To recognize his extraordinary actions, deputies have nominated Patrick to receive a Sheriff's Commendation Award. The nomination will be reviewed by the Sheriff's Office Awards Committee, and if approved, he will receive the commendation along with a special pin honoring his heroism. Our entire Sheriff's Office family is incredibly proud of Patrick, the agency said. His selflessness, courage, and love for his little brother serve as a powerful reminder that heroes come in all ages and sizes. Patrick may only be 7 years old, but when his family needed a hero most, he showed that courage isn't measured by age. It's measured by the willingness to act. And that is your good news for this Friday, July the 3rd, and from Canada, no less. Here we are in Toronto, enjoying the sun. Oh, it's getting a little cloudy now. Well, I want to thank you so much for watching. I'm so grateful that you take the time out to, be here and to share with us. It is such a great way to spend a Friday afternoon, get a little bit upbeat before we leave. And if you want to, you could like, share, and subscribe. That would be lovely. And I'm glad to see that New Thought Cowgirl loves the good news. I look forward to it. That's awesome. Thank you so much for watching. Well, we are here again next week with more good news. And, you can donate to the New Thought Media Network. Yes, you can. ntmedia.org. Hit that donate link and make sure this programming stays where you want it most, right on your laptop, your phone, or your big desktop computer. However you're watching, we're grateful you are. Have a fabulous week, and I'll see you next time. This is Barbara Jean signing off.